Today, y'all, Miss Megan has invited us into her indoor arena. What are we going to talk about today, Megan?
Footing.
Footing. Footing. Not my feet, but the stuff under my feet.
This stuff.
The stuff that is for specifically the horses.
Hey guys, I'm Megan.
And I'm Stephanie, and we are
Barn Besties
with
farm fresh advice
for you. So we are here to impart the knowledge that we have learned over the years of building and running barns so that you guys don't have to have the problems and the misery and the mistakes that we made. Hope you enjoy our videos. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, right?
Right, and we hope to save you time and money on your new adventures.
Absolutely. Hey guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Megan.
And we are
Barn Besties
with
Farm Fresh Advice.
Today, y'all, Miss Megan has invited us into her indoor arena. What are we going to talk about today, Megan?
Footing.
Footing. Footing. Not my feet, but the stuff under my feet.
This stuff.
The stuff that
This
is
stuff.
for specifically the horses, to keep the horses sound when you're riding them.
Footing is everything.
Footing is everything.
You really need, no foot, no horse, no footing, no horse. So you really need to think about your discipline, because different disciplines need different footing.
Dressage horses and reining horses need completely different footing.
Than jumping. Yeah.
Jumping horses, Western pleasure horses probably need different footing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
also Finos and Tennessee Walker. Okay, I'll stop.
So I just want to share with you what I did, and there are lots of options.
Yeah.
So, and of course
there's a lot of options. You know what? If you have an unlimited budget, you can get the most amazing footing for your horses.
You can.
But
the other
boy, those pockets
are very deep.
better be very deep.
Very deep.
Deep, because maybe like this deep, really deep. Because I mean, it's amazing the technology they've come out with in the last 5-10 years. The footing technology to help keep horses sound.
You have.
It's nothing like when we were children.
No. I mean, we would be on grass.
We didn't talk about footing when we were kids. It was dirt, it was sand, it was whatever somebody had, and you just never
rode.
heard anybody talk about it.
No. Well, and when I started, it was down the
Wood
road.
chips
Yeah,
or
it was
whatever.
There's wood chips. There's grass. We would take our horses out on the field. So it's unlimited.
There's still places that show in the grass.
Yeah.
Tons of places where
Yeah.
you're showing in the grass.
Yeah.
Grand Prix jumping, driving, 4-H shows.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. There's a ton of that.
Yep. So I do think the most important thing, no matter what you choose and what discipline you have, when you build your facility, after the shell is built, you have
You gotta have a base, a sub base, a
Yep.
base, and then your footing.
Yep, and so we have clay, and then we put 6 inches of compacted screenings, and we
Yes.
watered it, and he compacted it multiple days. We rode around on it.
Yes.
He
That is-
compacted it
let's
again.
just talk right there.
Yeah,
So your sub base was the clay.
yeah,
And was that just existing and that was what was here?
Yep.
So he leveled the clay.
yep,
I think the next key you talked about is the base,
Mhm.
which is, we say
Huge.
screenings. What that is, that's a very Wisconsin term. It's crushed, here in Wisconsin, it's crushed limestone. I've heard it called tailings, crushed
yeah.
rock,
Yep.
screenings. There's a lot of different words for it, but here what it is, because limestone is so prevalent in Wisconsin, it is pulverized crushed limestone. And it's fantastic, in my opinion, for a base.
yeah.
But I want to go back on what you were talking about. Watered it, leveled it, and
Compacted it.
Compacted
It has
it.
to be
compacted it.
And
He compacted it. You rode on it. This is all really key. When I was down in that greater Chicagoland area, there was a guy that was known as the arena guru. When he would come to like take care of our arenas, I listened literally to every word the man said, because he was such a wealth of knowledge on building arenas.
Mhm.
And that, what you said, is huge. Compact, because if you don't spend the time compacting that down, what happens?
it
Yep, you get unlevel,
You
uneven.
get waves.
It gets
Yeah.
stirred up into your final footing,
Yep.
and your base gets ruined. If you don't have a solid base, think of it as the foundation of your arena. Not the foundation of the building, but the foundation of the floor of your arena.
Where you ride
You
every
want
day.
that thing
Yeah.
solid. You don't want waves,
Nope. And you
ridges
wanna
and valleys.
take into consideration private versus commercial. Even private, let's say you have 20 horses. I mean, let's say you have 2. That's a big difference on the longevity of
Yes.
your footing. And so,
And the base.
and the base. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
My-
if you have a really, let's pretend for a minute that you are running a really large boarding facility. Let's say you got 70 head of horses here amongst the barns or whatever, and let's say you're running 2 indoor arenas. That's a lot of horses back and forth on an arena. It's a lot of maintenance, and yeah,
daily maintenance.
Daily maintenance.
And so the footing is very important. The dragging equipment is really important. You really want to think about that. Like my previous arena, that base lasted 25 years.
So you did not ever have to have the footing stripped out and the base re-leveled?
Never.
See, this is what we're talking about, good
Never.
preparation.
Yeah,
Good
and
preparation.
we never had any holes, nothing. I will say with this building, because I already had a business going, there was a rush to get in here. I would have liked to take maybe a month or even longer. Actually, I think it took 2 months just riding on screenings, but that's hard on the horses, just FYI. So the intensity of the lessons, the rides had to be lighter. I took a lot of trail rides, but I do think that's really important, taking the time. So you want to think about that in the process.
The arena builders will tell you, we know that it's frustrating, but do it.
Do it.
Because in the long
Do
run,
it.
it's gonna cost you money if you don't do it.
Do it.
Because your base will get ruined, and you're gonna have all your footing taken out and your base re-leveled. And then they're gonna tell you, what did I tell you the first time?
Yep.
Take your time, compact that. And you said he came in multiple times. And
Yeah.
compacted it.
And we're really lucky. They're our neighbors. I've made great friends with them. I can call them at any time. I highly recommend being nice to your neighbors. But they own an excavation company literally 3 miles away. So we had easy access. We're very good friends. Still had to pay them.
Yeah, you're not gonna necessarily get something for free, but
they
they're
were
more willing to
wonderful.
come
Yeah.
when you need it.
But I do think it's worth the price. And then I decided to go with torpedo sand, and then I was going to eventually put
Let's back up on the
shredded
sand.
rubber.
What kind of sand?
Torpedo sand.
Okay, so there's a whole bunch of different types of sand available. If you've never done your research into this, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because think about beach sand, what a struggle that is to walk through. If you've ever walked on the beach and you're not walking right on the shoreline, but you're on the beach where there's no water, think about how every step you take is a struggle. The sand is pushing away, it's heavy, it kind of sucks you in, makes you really work. So torpedo sand is what it's known here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But your supplier is going to understand. You want to make sure you're going with a supplier of this kind of aggregate that understands what you need in an arena. So either your builder or your aggregate supplier understands, because if they give you the wrong sand,
big problems.
it's a huge problem.
Yep.
So it's called torpedo sand.
We call it
here.
torpedo sand. Also, the depth is very important. So, what we do is I prefer 2 inches. That's just what I prefer for my horses. It's medium. I would say medium deep. If it's too deep, I want them to have support as dressage horses. I also want my school horses to be supported a little bit deeper, but not too deep.
Yeah.
and
what are the problems that comes with really deep footing?
tendon injuries.
Tendon injuries.
Yeah.
So when you're getting it delivered, don't go overboard. It's
No.
a lot easier to order in another truck than it is to go, oh God, we ordered way too much. Now they have to come back and take it all back out.
And I've done that.
Yeah,
I
think
done that.
everybody has done
Yeah.
that. I think everybody makes that mistake. You're better off going
Just putting in one foot at a
little bit.
time.
Yeah.
Just put 1 foot in at a time.
One foot?
I start, or 1 foot. Oh my gosh.
A whole foot. Yeah, get
2
it
points
in.
for Megan.
Tell 'em-
Not feet, inches.
And make sure they understand how they're leveling it. Yeah, start with an inch, ride on it, and then, because I've seen it where you tell them, I only want 2 inches of footing, and they leave and you've got 5 inches of footing, and you're like, this is not what I ordered.
I've never
It's
had
too
that.
much. It can happen,
And
though.
yep, that can happen. But he goes, we've worked together for 20 years, so we go really slow. And then also about every 2 years, we have to add, sand. And
Yeah,
twice.
'cause it gets dragged out, it gets blown out. It does disintegrate.
It does, yeah, and then you'll have bald patches. I don't want that. So I would say for me, it's about every 2 years we have to add footing. And then twice a year, he comes with a bobcat because we do pull sand about once a week. However, it just doesn't matter. There's no piece of equipment.
What do you mean pull sand?
So as you're riding, you can get trenches. So with the traffic of horses,
And dragging, it gets kicked up.
yeah, and so we
Oh.
actually don't ride. It's nicer in this arena versus the other one. This arena is too big. Poor me. So I actually don't have my students ride on the rail on the long sides, but I do on the short sides. And so we can easily come by and level this with our drag. I've had multiple drags, but that's another video. But at the letters A and C, or what we call the short side, we have to pull the sand back because of the traffic, like Steph said, the drag, the
Yeah.
sand will move. And so we have,
Just like on the beach when you're
Yep.
pushing off, it
we
does
have
kick out.
pieces of equipment that, like a cement rake is what we use. I've used other rakes, and it just pulls the sand so we get it level and then we drag. So you really want to think about how you maintain the sand, whatever footing, actually. I think it happens with all footings, but we also have him come in with a bobcat. And so in the corners, he has to pull it out and level it out, and he goes through the arena. That's twice a year, and I would say weekly we pull sand. So this is, even though
There's definitely maintenance.
it's a wonderful investment, it's still a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of work.
And if you don't do that work, you're gonna get ridges and valleys.
Yeah.
Very quickly. I mean, if you were to go a month without pulling the sand off the edges, it would be a total disaster. First of all, it'd be a lot of work to fix
Yeah.
that. At that point, you would probably need the skid loader man to come in and do it because it would be banked up
Yep.
ridiculously high. And a lot of it is the horses, but a lot of it is just the act of dragging too, because you know, the wheels of the tractor or the UTV, whatever you're using, are gonna kick it. As
Yep.
you turn the corner, it's gonna kick it up and out, so.
They're gonna move.
Yeah.
And then I would say the last thing, which will also probably be a different video, you wanna think about, when you purchase footing, how you're going to manage dust.
Yes.
Right? Is it gonna be water? Is it gonna be mag flakes? Is it gonna be something
There's
else?
treatments that they can.
Sprinklers.
Yeah, there's treatments they can spray on the sand that help hold the dust down. There's, like you said, the magnesium flakes.
Yep.
But there's other considerations for that, and that's definitely another video, because.
Yeah.
But there's other types of footing. I used to board at a barn where they used like a wood chip mixed with sand. And so you'd
Do you
have
recommend
sand.
that?
I don't like it, and the reason why I don't like that is because the wood chips deteriorate and it becomes almost like clay and it gets
Oh.
slippery.
Oh.
And the wood chips, when you water, get slippery.
Ooh.
So I will say the barn owner was really good at replacing the footing about every other year, just totally pulling out all the footing, completely like having it stripped all the way down to the base. And then they use that old footing, they actually put it out on their trails.
How
You know,
cool.
so you kind of had nice
Wood chips.
and sand on your trails. But I mean, you know, not a fan.
Yeah.
It still got dusty.
Oh, it did.
It
Yeah,
did.
we manage this with mag flakes, probably twice a year. I love it. In my old arena, we had shredded tires.
I was gonna say shredded
Love,
rubber.
love. That was actually my favorite footing. We go to multiple shows, and that footing is lamplight. It's what is it? It's like tennis shoes.
Yeah.
There's tennis shoes, but
Shredded
there's
tennis shoes.
there's
yep.
also like a
Puffy,
cloth.
flaky things.
Yeah, and all of that footing is great. However, it's about budget, but then you also have to think of you need special equipment. Because-
Special drags for that.
Yep, when I was looking into that, and then you need an expert to come in once a year, at least one of the facilities that I was training at in California who had it. So I was never really interested in that, and they also said you can't have manure stay in the footing, like you have to pick it up immediately, and I'm like, well, that's kind of silly. And we pick up our manure
Yeah.
after every lesson, but it may sit there 45 minutes through the lesson,
Right.
right? Whereas some of other footing, you need to pick it up immediately, which didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, then you
because
gotta interrupt
horses
your ride or have somebody
are
sitting
gonna
there
be
the whole
manuring.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, so really be careful and, you know, figure out your budget there, but it's not just the initial cost, it's also how you maintain.
I think sand is pretty economical depending on where you live and whether it's accessible for you to get delivered. I think it's the #1 arena footing you see here in the Midwest.
Yeah, I would say so, and I
Super
think
easy to get to.
it's easy to maintain, I think for the most part, it just shifts, you just have to watch the shifting and you
And
have
you
to.
don't wanna get it too deep, as
No,
you said.
yeah, no, not too deep, so,
Yeah.
yay.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. It's been kind of a long video, but thank you so much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let us know if you got questions or anything down below in the comment section. And yeah, we will see y'all in our next video.
Yay, thanks for
Bye,
coming.
guys.